Hi, and welcome to the sunny town of Shadyside, where the rent is low, people are friendly, except for the whole serial killer thing every 20 years.
Sarah fears that. Christ, not you too.
There's no angry, dead witch. The only thing that made him go crazy is this town.
The dude was wearing a Halloween skull mask. How is that not fun? Guys, I think there's someone in the woods.
Stay tuned for our review on Fear Street Part 1. What is up, everybody? Hello and welcome back to the channel. If you're new around these parts, I'll make this part really quick. Hello, hi, I am Zombie Chris. Welcome to my channel, and on this channel we cover everything from the world of horror, haunts, Halloween season, and theme parks as well. But yeah, so Netflix Fear Street, kind of something unique here. Now I know with some of these streaming platforms we've had TV series as far as, you know, seasons go, but this is kind of unique in a special way because it's actually a part 1, a part 2, and part 3 actually telling its story, and each one of these are pretty much a full-length movie. So we're going to discuss part 1, what I thought about it, what I liked about it, and what I didn't like about it. In Netflix's Fear Street Part 1, 1994, a circle of teenage friends accidentally encourage the ancient evil responsible for a series of brutal murders that have plagued their town for over 300 years.
It's the narrative, right? Maybe we are doomed.
Now, just a preference says I did stay away from all the sort of trailers that came out about this. I heard some rumblings from, you know, Blade Disgusting and just from the internet itself, but I stayed away from it. I grew up kind of reading Goosebumps and R.L. Stein's work. But I wasn't familiar with this property and didn't know it existed. But it was kind of cool that Netflix was bringing us sort of a teenage horror type of thing that maybe is sort of like their other property. But let's get to what did I like about Fear Street. What I liked about it was that it was reminiscent of its age. You know, it's set in, I believe, 1990. Yeah, so it's set in 1994, and it felt like a great 90s throwback in a way that they almost probably used some of the casting and some of the crew from the Stranger Things over here to kind of give it that aesthetic look. There's something I didn't like, and I'll get to that a little bit later on in the video, but I love the looks. I love the opening of this. Obviously, if you don't know, I'm a huge Scream fan. It's like one of my all-time favorite horror movies. So the opening montage to this, it felt like an homage to like Scream. And if you've seen the movie, you'll understand. I'm not trying to spoil too much here. So, but it is really great opening. It kind of sets the mood. It gets you in there. And it's kind of a wild ride with these characters. I like that they kind of played a little bit different with the characters where I didn't think they were going a certain way, and then they flipped it. There's a relationship that I wasn't quite expecting, but it was really cool to kind of see that kind of thrown in there and switching what I was expecting there. Now, it's called Fear Street for a reason. Is it actually scary? For teenagers, I would say it's quite scary. It has some scary elements, some very stalkerish, serial killers. We got some really kind of creepy imagery in there and gore. For them saying this is like supposed to be for, I guess, young adults, it seemed like it was kind of for a mature audience, much much different from the audience that they were trying to reach with Stranger Things as opposed to this one. And did I feel that it wrapped up pretty well in the end? I mean, it really kind of pushes you along to watch the second, the part two, basically. They kind of wrap up things and then they kind of don't. So don't go in this with the idea of that you're just going to watch part one. You're going to have to watch all three parts. Now, that might be a con to some people.
And you're like, oh, God, I got to sit through 2 more of these.
With that being said, let's get to what I did not like about Fear Street. Now, while it being set in the 90s was great, I love the, the Scream homage. I love some of the imagery. It just reminded me of my 90s kind of going to a high school and having that whole high school life and the rivalry and the crush on someone. I've been there in all those type of situations. I've been there. And while with Stranger Things, the 80s vibe is kind of, in my opinion, is kind of just overdone, especially with the music and especially with every single thing. Like, oh, you get this, you get this, you get that. Hey, it's from the 80s. They do a lot of that with the soundtrack in this, at least part one. Soundtrack is heavy in this show. It's like if you did a drinking game based on how many 90s songs they put in here, you'd be done. You'd be dead probably 30 minutes into this, because it seems like they play a song at least every 2 or 3 minutes. There's a song. That wouldn't be so bad if it didn't kind of dumb down the levelness and the quality. To me, having that much music in this made it seem like a TV movie as opposed to it just being something like high quality, like a Netflix production. It just seemed like something you would see maybe done on, Nickelodeon with just a bigger of a budget, So I liked the music that they were playing, but I just thought we didn't need a song every like 2 or 3 minutes. And while I understood that the length of this was needed to kind of tell this story, I only felt it dragged a little bit. They have a great opening scene. It really pumps you in and gets you into the action. And then you're kind of just waiting for a little bit. You're waiting for something to kind of pick up. You're kind of diving into the characters. And I get that's that point where we're going to have character development. But for a show called Netflix's, Fear Street, and that strong opening, you're expecting to kind of be like a little bit more. And it does pick up later on, but it does feel a little stagnant after the opening scene for a little while. And I know you probably are going to say, well, you love Scream, and Scream does that as well. But I'll say this, Scream had better characters, and that was set in kind of the mid-90s. It just had an overall better writing on it as opposed to this.
Hello?
Still alive.
Who is this?
It's happening again.
Tonight is Sunnyvale versus Shadyside. Red versus blue. Good versus evil. Recommensicate color!
And at times, some of the characters can make very odd Scooby-Doo-ish goofball moves. And it's kind of like it doesn't kind of know where it wants to fit in. Sometimes the characters are doing goofy stuff and it's like funny, but then other times it's supposed to be serious, because there is some deaths in here and some gore that happens, and you're like, whoa, it went there for a young adults kind of thing. And one more nitpick, and it is really a nitpick, is sometimes when the people got stabbed or something would happen to a character, it just felt either like it just didn't really mean nothing. Like the character got stabbed and then they still went on to either fight or do something else, and you're like, who gets stabbed and still is able to like do stuff? And most of the time it seemed like stabs were just,
it's nothing. It's just to stab him. Just stab. That's it.
So, but that was more of a nitpick. But that is it for my thoughts on part 1 of Netflix's Fear Street. If you checked it out, if you have Netflix, I think it's rather worth a watch. I'm kind of split on it. Maybe I need to rewatch it, especially once we get part 2 and part 3. I'll go back and kind of try to watch all 3 back to back, and maybe it will kind of flow a little bit better. Overall, like I said, if you have Netflix, it's definitely worth the watch. Obviously, I wouldn't tell you to skip it. You got to be in for the long haul. It is rather long. It's like over an hour and 20 minutes. But other than that, like I said, if you like Scream and you like kind of that 90s homage serial killer, that is it for the video. Thank you guys for tuning in, and I will see you when part 2 comes out. This time we're going to camp, which I never went to camp as a kid. I wonder what it was like. I don't know. I really don't enjoy fishing. Don't like bugs. I like the outdoors and woods. And if you're still watching, you can click this video or click this video. It's up to you. Adios. Bye-bye.